Hello, happy people. I hope you're having an absolutely magnificent day today. Today, I thought it would be fun for me to knock out this thing I just read the second time for this channel by H.P. Lovecraft. It's from 1919. It's called The Picture in the House, and so forth. I knocked it out yesterday while in the car, about like half an hour or so, roughly. It's probably longer, like maybe 35 minutes or so. Alrighty, so basically, I wanted to knock that out for you folks as a part of my reviews for this channel of these older things. Now, as a reminder, H.P. Lovecraft was for a long time my favorite author. I discovered him when I came across his three-volume collection by Del Rey Publishing in the late 90s when I was a junior in college. And then I bought, the first collection were just basically his horror stuff from the early era. And then the second volume were his dream stuff from his middle era based on Lord Dunsany. And then the last volume were his Cthulhu Mythos stuff. I do remember reading this now twice, but I don't know which volume it was in. I'll link it to you, or for free online. I'll link it to you in case you're interested in checking it out too, in case you haven't read it to it. Or if you just want to go back and get your mind refreshed. Now, the title, The Picture in the House, I thought was going to be about a type of picture, like maybe like on the wall or something like that we find out actually is creepy in the end and that sort of a thing. That view of this short story actually was underlined because our primary point of view character is a person wandering to Arkham, and it's raining and that sort of a thing, and so he needs to find shelter because it's really bad. So he finds this house that's all beat up and broken and stuff, but the windows aren't rusted. It does have appearances of somebody actually living there, so instead of just breaking in, he knocks on the door a couple times, but nobody answers, so he just goes in, the door's open, and that sort of a thing. And then he'll come across some antiquaire and stuff. Makes this look like he's a really strong lover of older stuff and that sort of a thing. He'll come across a book. The book will be a darker tome and that sort of thing. That tome is where the picture comes from for the title and that sort of thing. So the idea there is, I think, a little more downplayed early. But then later on, when you find out stuff, I think it's elevated pretty strongly. And that sort of thing. Like I mentioned before, this is going to Arkham and set in New England too. So it's definitely in the Cthulhu Mythos in 1919, early on. And that sort of thing by H.P. Lovecraft, which he wrote and popularized. It's a shared universe all the way back to the pulp era, where each of his people, he started off reusing things like Miskatonic University or the Necronomicon, those sorts of things. The tome that is mentioned from, the pictures from the darker one, doesn't seem to appear. I don't recall it from later stuff. But the fact that Arkham is mentioned is a place and a location, a university in the Cthulhu Mythos. So that tells you that this is in the Mythos in one of the earlier stories, like the Hound. And that's the thing. It doesn't have an ending that's more traditional of the cosmic horror from the mythos later on in his career, like the Call of Cthulhu and stuff will go on the map in a major way, or the show on Innsmouth. It's not this darker, more terrific cosmic horror. It's a lighter horror shock ending at the end, but it's fine. I like it. And that sort of a thing. It definitely deepens the tone of the story and the picture. But it's more of a traditional horror rather than the more better ones that you would get later on. And that sort of thing. Because I definitely feel that this is more of a traditional horror short story. It doesn't have any of the cosmic sides of it that would make this a Lovecraft, make this more of a Cthulhu Mythos, or the ones that he would share, like the Hounds of Dyndalos, or with Clark Ash's Myth, or Robert E. Howard's too, like the Black Stone, that sort of thing. Alrighty, so there you go. I think it's okay. I think it's fine. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's not a bad diversion of your time, but it's a little early on in his career, and I wouldn't say that it's an absolute classic 10 out of 10 either. For you folks, so I'm between 6.5 and a 7. I'm going to give it a 7. I think it's okay. It's fine. I'm going to round up rather than down, but it's okay. Right? It's a nice little thing, but again, I wouldn't go to the mattresses on saying it's one of his best early works either. Like my recent one that I read for you, Memory, or things like the rats in the walls either. So there you are. But it's strong stuff, love it lots. Alrighty, so there you are. And that is the picture in the house by H.P. Lovecraft in 1919. And so forth. 7 out of 10 for you folks. Have you read this? And if so, what did you think about it? Again, keep it spoiler free. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Remember, I'm not a dream critic or a literary critic or an English major or anything like that. I was a political science major. I'm just a man, right? So your opinions are just as valid as mine are. So I'm happy to entertain them, right? Whatever you think your thoughts are, or rating too. All right, that's the picture of the house for you folks. I try to do 3 of these older reviews each week, from in this case, horror, science fiction, or horror, or fantasy too. Love it lots from these older short stories. And that's the thing. So if you like that, definitely check out the channel. Hit the like button, and then the subscribe button, and then the bell icon if you're feeling frisky, to be notified of my 7 videos. We can try to do 3 of these older things, and then other things too, here and there. And then also just let your friends know and go back and watch some of these old things, right? Share and watch. Those are the key ways. And there you are. I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and just investing it, right? And watching my videos, because we all have so many things, right, that are happening in our lives. And we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me, that's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it so very, very much. Thanks again, and as a reminder, this channel is named The Worst Thing About New Books. It's a quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about them was they kept us from reading the old ones. Definitely the old ones in this case. They're more influential than I might have heard of, but I actually gone out and read. Not that the good new ones are bad. They aren't. But the idea is that in our pursuit, our passion of new stuff and new sensations, we forget the old stuff and the quality there. Alrighty, so that's also the passion and why I do a lot of older things for the channel too. Alrighty, there you are. Thanks again, and have an amazing day.